Coach has got a meeting at 7:35 each and every single week at around this time, so we will be catching up with him around now, this time, to talk a little Aztec football and get us ready for the 2014 season. Coach, it's here. Are you ready?
Yeah, we are, Dan. We're looking forward to it. We've been banging on each other for the last few weeks. We're kind of looking forward to hitting someone else.
Coach, what's the big issue and difficulty in preparing for the first game of the year, no matter who it is?
Well, I think it's kind of the unknown. You know, you look at film. Last May, we watched all Northern Arizona's film and got a game plan together, and basically we're going into the game with the assumption that they're going to do the same things. You know, defensively they have the same coordinator, and you know, we've got some articles from them that appears they're doing the same thing. So, you know, we have to be able to make adjustments according to what they do differently. But for the most part, we're anticipating that they're going to do the same things they've been doing.
You know, and they were pretty good, if I'm not mistaken, Coach. Just off the top of my head, pass defense efficiency. And I looked down the list there. I think they've lost a lot of their guys, so they may be playing with a lot of young guys. How does that play into your attack when you look at them this week?
Well, first of all, you're right, Dan. They were, I think, 9th in the nation last year, and they were really good on defense. But they've only got 3 returning starters coming back. They're pretty good ones. They got a middle linebacker who's really good, and a defensive end and a corner. But from what I understand, they've got some guys that backed up a lot last year because they had a lot of success. So they're not lacking for experience. And then they went out and got some JC players as well. And we kind of watched some of those JC kids on film too, so kind of find out what they're all about. So it's just a matter of going in and playing and seeing what we can do.
You know, and to me, when you see a lot of young players, and I'll go back to what Belichick says, to me, the really mark of a great coaching staff and the mark of a great team is, you know, you start attacking knowledge of what you don't know. You know, you look at some of these guys, you see a lot of young freshmen. I think that's one of the issues, right, Coach? When you have experienced guys going into your first week of the season, I mean, that's what you really want, because you're going to attack not just the fact that the guys' name may not be as talented there, but do they know what they're being asked to do?
Well, I think you're right, and that's one of the things when you game plan. Obviously, you plan for schemes. You know, what do they do offensively and defensively? But you also plan against personnel. You know, and an example is in short yardage. You want to run your best player over your best player against their lesser player. So, you know, we got to find out who their lesser people are. We got to attack those people.
Coach, this year compared to last year, what are your concerns and what do you like about this group compared to a year ago when your team went to a bowl game?
Well, I think the big thing is we're so much more advanced than we were a year ago because, you know, I installed that offense 2 springs ago. The coaches were trying to learn it, and now all of a sudden the coaches know it pretty well. The players have a really good understanding, haven't been in it for 2 years, and that was the big unknown, is going into the first game and me not really knowing the ability of all of our players, just watching them in practice. And then to be able to adjust and do things during the course of the game with the knowledge that we have at hand with the offensive system.
Aztec OC Bob Toledo here on San Diego Sports Leader, the Mighty 1090. Coach, I talked last week to you about identity. Do you see that identity on offense now going into week 1?
Well, I think it's the same identity we've always had. You know, you get a chance to recruit to your system, and you know we're going to be able to run the ball. And I've always had a 1,000-yard rusher. I've always been a run first, play action pass guy to try to get some big ones. And then, you know, try to stay out of long yard situations. And then our biggest thing from a year ago is, we can't turn the ball over. We had, I think, 5 or 6 turnovers in the first game last year. Even though we ran 99 plays, we didn't play very well. And so turnovers and then red zone. We weren't very good in the red zone, and part of that had to do with our place kicker. You know, we missed 8 field goals and 6 extra points. So we've got to shore up those 2 areas to have a successful season.
I talked to Dennis Erickson about you, Coach, and I said, what is a Bob Toledo offense? He said, tempo. He goes, the number one thing that you have to watch out, if that team gets in rhythm, they're a very difficult team because he likes to spread you out immediately and get that defense spread out in tempo. Is he right?
Well, he has a lot to say about that. You know, we played against Dennis for a lot of years, so, you know, we've had some great battles. But, yeah, I think tempo is a good word. You know, my big thing is, you know, we want to pound you and make you have to respect the run and come up with an 8-man front, and then we're going to isolate you one-on-one with wide receivers. So, you know, we're going to do a lot of different formations. We're going to have a trick player or two, and just try to keep you off balance.
Coach, what do you want to see coming out? Final question. What do you want to see coming out of this game this weekend?
Well,
a win.
Number one, a win.
A win.
I want to see us show progress from a year ago. I want to see us show that we have a good grasp of this offensive system, and that's the thing I want to come away with. Not only our players but our coaches to be able to communicate better and to know what's going on.
4 p.m. on Saturday. It'll be Northern Arizona. You'll catch that, of course, on ESPN 1700. Coach, great luck and be healthy this weekend.
I appreciate it, Dan. See you next week.